Hello, welcome to my garden. My name's Hua. I live in the beautiful province of Nova Scotia. So I'll be sharing with you how I started a flower farm on my property that's about 11,000 square feet. I have come up with 10 things you should consider before you even venture into a cut flower farm. The first consideration is, why do you want a cut flower farm? Are you a hobbyist and you just want to have a beautiful landscape? Or just once in a while you have your own flowers that you can cut from and bring inside or to gift to friends? A micro farm, a big commercial farm, your income and still maintain your full-time job, or you have a part-time job and need extra income. You need to decide before you even plan anything, what is your end goal? The second one is, who is your target market? As a hobbyist, it would be you. It's your garden and you're going to make bouquets for yourself, for your friends and family. Market bouquets, you're going to make what sells at farmers markets. You can find that out by just going to farmers markets and browsing, going to your local grocery store or any other places that sell flowers and see what kind of flowers they sell and how they're arranged. Are you going to sell to businesses such as restaurants, dental office, hair salon? Are you going to sell to supermarkets, a florist, where they're going to buy a bunch of flowers from you and arrange their own bouquets? So there are people who sell off their porch if you have a nice front porch, or you can start a market stand right in front of your house or at the end of your lane if you have traffic that comes by your house. CSA, which is subscriptions that you sell to customers ahead of your growing season, and then you guarantee them 5 bouquets over the season, or they just buy whatever package that you have available or whatever flowers you have in season. And in that way, you have money up front to invest in buying your bulbs or plants that you need for the summer. And if you have a big enough land, you can do U-picks. So if you have abundance of flowers, you can open up your farm for one day and have all these people come and they pick their own flowers. Because instead of having your flowers mature and go into the compost, you can have a U-pick event. And so there's so many ways to generate income. But what you have to do is you got to know what your customers' tastes are. And once you find out what the customer taste is, you can grow and cater to their needs. Number 3 to consider is, who is going to work on your flower farm? Is it going to be just you? So if it's just going to be you, you need to consider how many hours a day you're going to have to devote to this endeavor. Because you don't want to have a full day's work, come home and have to spend 5 hours weeding and then having to put on a night light on your head so that you can cut your flowers at night to have them ready for tomorrow's market. So you got to consider how many people are going to be working on this farm before you decide how big of a farm you're going to get. Point 4 is, how much money do you have to invest in this farm? Will it come from your savings, a loan, parents, or do you have a partner that's going to invest with you? The nice thing to do is not go into debt. Do not spend more than you have. If you can go that route, then that's the best thing to do. So start small, if that's all you have, and just slowly over the years grow as you have more money coming in from your sales. So the location that you do select, whether it's your own property or a brand new piece of land that you're going to buy, you got to think about, how are you going to cultivate that land? Terrain of your land is it sloping, it's flat, it's covered with trees? Like, how much work is it going to take to cultivate it? Can you do it by hand? Or are you going to have to bring in machinery to cut down trees, or just to level off the land? So when you determine the location, you're going to make sure that, yes, I can grow on this land, and that over the years I can progress on it too. Another thing is access to water. Is it municipal water, or are you going to have to go with well water? Do you have to put in a well? And once you have that access to water, will it reach all your plants with just a garden hose, or do you have to put in a drip water irrigation system? So that's going to factor into your cost. And also, Is there shade on your property? So you got to know where your shade area, where your sunny areas are. So that's going to determine what plants you're going to plant, and where the sun sets and sun rises. That is very important because some plants love the morning sun and some plants hate the evening sun. So when you pick your location, just spend a couple days or even the whole entire season observing it before you put your seeds or a seedling into the ground. Next point is number 6. What zone is your property on? And that's going to determine exactly what plants will survive in your area, what you can grow, and it's going to determine when you can grow it. Either you plant in the fall, in the spring. So that's going to determine on what zone you're in, and you can find that out just by Googling your area. Next thing is, the best thing is, what plants are you going to select to grow? Perennials. So perennials will just flower once, and in some regions it'll flush twice a season. But the thing with perennials is you'll have these flowers come up back every single year, and you only have to do one investment. So you can decide if you're going to have perennials. And the good thing about perennials is after 2-3 years, you can take that plant, divide it into more plants. So one plant could become 20 or 30 in a few years. You can take cuttings from some perennials and just root them, and then you'll have a new plant. And the next one is annuals. Those are the ones that you see in the seed catalogs, and there's millions and millions to choose from, and you could get overwhelmed on what you want to grow. And annuals, it is based on zones. What is an annual in my zone might not be an annual further down south in like 8 or 9. The zones are 8 and 9. But here it won't survive in my 5, so they're considered annuals. So I buy the seed at the beginning of the season, I grow them out or direct seed them into the ground, and then they will flush for a longer period. That's what nice about annuals is it's not a 2-3 week harvesting like perennials. Is you can only harvest 2 to 3 weeks at most. But with annuals, you might get 2-3 flushes. Shrubs. These will be used as greenery in your bouquet, so it just adds volume, adds a little bit more interest in your bouquet. I like making bouquets that are for markets, and it kind of incorporates what you see in nature, right? There's foliage, there's other, say if you look out on a vista and see meadow, you'll see trees, flowers mixed in with weed, grasses, and everything. That's kind of the look I like in my bouquet. So this is purple 9-bark. This makes good vase life. So what vase life is you want to aim for at least a 6 to 7 day vase life for your customers, so that you want your flowers to last that long for the customers, so they get the biggest bang for the buck. And then over here, I have boxwood. And with this here, if I clip this, I get new flush of greenery, and this is good all year long. I can use this during Christmas season, so it's a 4-season plant. And over here I have gladiolas. These are my annuals. They're bulbs. I will be lifting them up once the foliage frost gets them, and save the chromes and try and save them for next year. So with bulbs, that's the good thing about bulbs, having bulbs in tubers such as dahlias. You can lift them up and try and store them and grow them next year. So you only have to invest in once. But some chromes like gladiolas, next year's flush may not be as beautiful, but I'm going to give it a try anyways to see what next year brings. Okay, so let's move on to number 8. Is your landscape going to look like? Are you going to have some hardscapes, which is fencing, arbors, or permanent structures like patios, and your pathways? You want to be able to walk down the pathway with a wheelbarrow, or you have tractors to consideration. If you have a U-pick, you want your roads wide enough so like 2 people can walk side by side, so they're not walking in file. Do you have vistas? Do you have nice views? If you are planning to cater to like U-picks or places with sunflower fields for people to go and take pictures, or like for wedding photos, that kind of thing. So that's gonna go into what kind of design you want for your garden. and the ambiance or the atmosphere you want to create. Is this your home garden so that, you know, this is where you're going to entertain people, your guests, or just for yourself? Like coming home from a hard day's work and you just want to sit out in the yard, look at the beautiful flowers and plants. So that's going to factor in. Or are you just farm production and you're just going to have rows and rows of plants? And if you have U-picks, you want it to look nice so that people come. Like people are going to drive up to 2-3 hours to come to your farm just to see the flowers, just to get away from the city and hustle bustle of their everyday life. So next thing we're going to talk about is actually going to the growing stage. Are you going to start indoor seeds, or you might not have the space for it, and then you have to grow directly outdoors? So that's going to affect the plants that you're going to buy, because some seeds you have to start indoors, and if you don't have a room for it, or don't have the money to invest in shelves and grow lights, or don't have a big window to put your seeds in so it gets enough heat and sunlight, you might have to buy plugs from established nurseries. Read your seed packets. Determine how far in advance you got to seed before the frost date, or some seeds are direct seed and you gotta wait until after the frost date. How are you gonna suppress the weeds? Spacing for plants. With cut flower farms, you don't go by the spacing that's in the back of your packet or what's suggested online. For flower growing, you can grow plants as close as 4 inches and 6 inches because you're trying to maximize profit in a small space as possible. So the last topic we're going to cover is harvesting. So when we harvest flowers, we want at least a 6 to 7 day vase life. And so you got to know when to harvest the flowers. So there are certain flowers like sunflowers, you're going to pick them when the petals are just unfurling. And there are certain flowers that you're going to open when it's completely open, such as the ballflower. There is no other way. It's just going to open this big. This dahlia that has a center here, I will pick these before this opens, because once it starts opening and I bring it inside, the petals will just fall off. So this dahlia, here you can see that there's a new flower that's coming up. If I let that grow, I'm going to have a really short, like this is a really small stem flower. So some growers will actually go in here and they will sacrifice this. They will pinch this out. And so what that does is this is not going to send up a new stalk, so you don't have like 2 flowers growing like this. That's really hard to put in a vase. What they do is now you're going to have a flower that goes from here all the way to here. So that's a really long length, but my desirable length is over here, but I'm going to cut it all the way here, because after this is all just wasted energy. So I'm going to cut all the way here. When you're harvesting flowers, you want to bring a bucket with you that has water in it, because you want, as soon as you pick your flower, you want it to go directly into water so that your plants are already starting to condition and drink water. And that wraps up the video. If you have any questions or comments, please just write it down in the comments below. So please give us a like, subscribe, and back into the garden we go.